Welcome, everybody. We're going to get started in just a couple minutes here. Just waiting for some people to join. All right, it's 11 o'clock, so we're going to get started. Welcome, everybody, to GovDash Live, and happy October 1st. We're super excited to get into labor category management using GovDash and using AI to win more proposals. So today I have with me well, let me introduce myself. So my name is Lauren. I am a product marketing manager here at GovDash. So I work with our engineering team, our customer success team, and our sales team to really evaluate our product within the market and explain to customers and users the real benefit of using GovDash. And then I'm going to hand it off to some members from our engineering team to introduce themselves quick.
Hello, everyone. My name is Parker. Here at GovDash, I work across the platform, primarily focusing on our AI assistant Dash, our custom docs features, the Word Assistant, and then any other just general feature that spans across the platform, such as integrations. Prior to GovDash, I worked at Lockheed Martin as a software engineer, where I was supporting the NC3 mission, at US Stratcom within Omaha. While I was there, I was developing out new applications for the joint forces and for the warfighter. And I saw firsthand, as I was on this contract, a lot of the issues that you all are seeing today and a lot of the issues that GovDash helps solve, which is why I was extremely excited to join the team here and help develop out our platform. So I'll hand it off to Evan now to introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Evan Allgare. I am a software engineer at GovDash. I currently work in the proposal cloud doing specifically key personnel and labor category management, but also general purpose things over there. I also have some work in the capture cloud. Prior to GovDash, I worked in PMA 263 at NavAir, where I worked on the family of small unmanned aerial systems, supporting the warfighter and the Marines over there.
Great, thanks guys. So before we get into today's full demonstration of some of the things that our engineers just mentioned, I want to talk about AI as a whole in the last few years. So before AI, processes like labor category management and proposal development in general obviously was a long manual process, digging through hundreds of documents, resumes, manually using Excel, and just all around time consuming tasks for the people producing those proposals. And now with AI, the parsing is done for you. So you can really surface what you need almost instantly using a platform like GovDash. And what's really interesting, as you can see in this chart at the end, is compliance. So this is like the surprise factor that has come with using AI is enhanced compliance. So not only is AI speeding up, these tasks, but it's ensuring nothing is missed. And compliance checks are even built in. And especially within GovDash, we have a lot of compliance features. So, what used to feel like a trade-off with efficiency and compliance is now a double win for teams using a platform like GovDash. So that's really the big message we want to get across with some of the features we're going to dive into today, but just wanted to highlight that before we get into it.
So today we'll be going over how GovDash can help you extract resumes and recommend key personnel, extract labor categories from solicitations, search for your users to be assigned to labor categories, and also the Word Assistant and how you can use Dash to help you edit your proposal in Word. So here is a more granular view of what the resume matching system and recommendation system looks like. We separate when we're assigning people to labor categories, we assign them based on, or we recommend them based on these 4 categories of missing, partially meets, and exceeds. So this will be extracting key, or it will be looking at the labor categories requirements and then matching to the resume the requirement itself. So it will look if the requirement is exceeded by the person, is just met, partially there but not completely there, or is missing from the resume entirely. And so as we can see here, John is exceeding 1 requirement. This is a more basic example, but he's exceeding 1 requirement and is thus a 100% match. And Sean D is a 0% match as he has a partial and is missing 4. So we are weighing the missing more than we are weighing the partial. So now we'll be getting into our live demo. So I'll show you how it looks on GovDash itself. Okay, so this is what you'll see when you enter the labor category section of your proposal. To get here, you'll go to the proposal cloud, click on the proposal you want to look at, and then scroll down to labor categories. So these are the labor categories that we made, or that we extracted from the resume, for the solicitation. I have made some of these to show a little more in depth and show it a little more on a broad range. Some labor categories will have up to 35 or more requirements, but I've narrowed these down so it's a little easier for our demo. To see the labor categories and the details and the requirements in it, you can click on View Details here, and it'll show you the title, the number of positions required, the description, and the requirements or certifications that are required in the labor category. And so to find recommended key personnel, we can click on this button here. I have already done this for us, but you would click here and it will search through your staffing pool and find recommended key personnel for you. So here I have a limited number of people in our data library, but this will go up to 20 people. We'll find the top 20 matches and then we will sort them and show them here. So here is an example of a very well met personnel that meets this labor category. To see more details and where they exceed and where they meet or what they're missing, you can click right on the card and it will show you exactly from the experience in the resume what we have found. So as we saw earlier, here are the labor category requirements on the left. And in the middle are direct quotes from their resume. So for example, here, one of the requirements is a Bachelor of Science. And here we pulled it from the resume here, and therefore we meet the evaluation. Some interesting notes are this labor category requirement led software development projects over $3 million. And in the resume, Katie Jones has led a $5 million project. Therefore, we are exceeding the evaluation. Why this is super helpful for customers is that we can really quickly go through a bunch of resumes and assign them to labor categories. Instead of having to sift through hundreds of resumes, we can then just click a button and we can find who matches the labor category the best. So now we're going to go over to an example where we don't exactly meet, but we are close to meeting the requirement. So software engineer here, we have John D. Innovator, who is partially meeting 1 and meets 7 of them, but he does not exceed. So we are trying to heavily weigh the exceeds more than the meets because it'll give us a higher chance of completely filling the labor category. So here we are just meeting all of the certifications or requirements by the labor category. An interesting note is at the bottom, we have up-to-date and tech news. In the resume, we just have a tech blogging section. So the tech blogging section is kind of a one you might have to talk to them about, but also is not exactly coherent in how they are up-to-date in tech news, but it's a mention. So we are partially meeting this requirement. To assign a person to the labor category, you can just click the assign button here and they will appear at the top. So here, now they're assigned to the labor category and we can click on them again and we can see exactly what they are. So let's say I talked to John and I said, hey, are you up to date in tech news and how do you do that? And he tells me and I'm like, okay, he actually exceeds the requirement. So I can go here and click exceed. So I'll close this and get into more of how flexible our labor category management system is. So here we have a smart dog requirement. This smart dog labor category is a smart dog to help around the office, and they need a BA in mechanical engineering, guarding offices, experience with dog food formulas, and a whole bunch of other things, including a real estate license. So here's my dog Milo. Milo meets all of these requirements, surprisingly enough. To go in, we can see even more about him and how he meets these. To see his resume fully, I can click on his name, and it'll take us to our new document viewer for resumes. So this is Milo right here. He's a 7-month-old golden retriever. He's very smart. But we can see the full resume here. His experience and information about him, he actually doesn't have a LinkedIn, and his degrees. You even can see that he has license to sell real estate in New York City. So now I'm going to get into more of what we can do with these labor categories in the outline. So if we go over to the outline and we scroll down to our a section type of key personnel resume, I can click into here and I can assign a person. Again, I've already done this for us, but we assign John D. Innovator to this section. And once we click generate, we will create the resume inside the proposal. So here it'll list some basic information about him, his education certifications. If he's assigned to a labor category, it will put these up here. And then his professional experience down at the bottom. So now to get into more of how we can edit proposals in Word using Dash, I'll hand it over to Parker.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Evan. Share my screen here. Perfect. So Evan just walked through some of our flows that we have within the proposal cloud. So once we're done generating your pink team draft, we've gone through the process of generating an outline, assigning key personnel to the labor categories, and actually generating the proposal. You can download it, and we can link it directly to our Word assistant within Microsoft Word if the proposal was downloaded from GovDash itself. So if you'll notice up here at the top, you can see the solicitation and the proposal that you're working on right here, immediately attached to the chat that you're using within the Word assistant. So what this essentially does is it tells Dash that you are working, which solicitation package you're working with. So you can ask questions related to that, and it can get the relevant information for you at your fingertips. So an example of a question you can ask here, which I would think would be helpful when generating a proposal, making sure you're compliant, is you can ask, are there any formatting requirements for this proposal? And our Word assistant will go through, it'll search through the solicitation documents and then surface the information right in front of you without ever having to actually leave the environment that you're currently working in within Microsoft Word right here. So this I find is an extremely helpful feature, being able to tie these together. I don't know how familiar everyone is with Dash and our assistant within the web, but the Word assistant is essentially just a way to access that portal and to access all of this information from within the environment that you're currently working in. So other examples of interesting things that you can do within the Word assistant is you can have Dash actually search through your data library and contract clouds to surface relevant information for you if you need to fill in any gaps within the proposal itself. So staying along the theme of key personnel and labor categories, you can see in this proposal that we downloaded earlier, we don't have anyone as an implementation lead, so you can just ask directly who from our staffing pool would be a good implementation lead for this proposal. Be specific with info from the labor categories. So Dash will go through your data library, find relevant people from your staffing pool, and do an analysis on who they think would be good to surface for this specific role, and it'll actually link together the resumes and the information that was used as always, so we can see the sources that were used, and then it'll actually link in line here who it thinks is the best person to include for this. So let's say maybe we want to go with Katie Jones, and we need an experience summary here within our proposal. So you can say generate an experience summary for Katie Jones. And Dash will go through, find the relevant information that it needs, interpret those results, and then generate the experience summary directly for you. So a powerful feature of the Word Assistant, and this is one of the things that sets it apart from Dash's capabilities throughout the rest of the product, is you can insert text directly into your proposal without doing anything, and it'll automatically format it for you. So if you highlight the text or the area that you want to replace, click insert, then all of a sudden you now have an experience summary already written for you. You can also, maybe you don't exactly like how this is formatted. You can highlight the text. What this does is it provides it as context now to Dash. So Dash can now see the text that is highlighted, and you can either ask any specific prompt that you want. So maybe you wanted to lengthen it, maybe you wanted it to focus on XYZ. That's completely valid thing to ask for. We do have some power actions that we have found are extremely useful when generating proposals. So what these are the common features and common things, actions that are taken. So substantiate's a common one, going through and finding information relevant from your contract inventory, any past performances that you've worked on, and substantiating the claims that you're making within these proposals. We also have other more specific power actions such as shorten. So an example of using shorten is it'll shorten the text that's highlighted there. We can convert this into an active voice, convert it into a table, graphics, or lists directly from with just a click of a button. So the graphics power action in particular, I find actually extremely useful. So what this does is it generates smart art within Word. So if you highlight any text, you can have Dash generate multiple different types of graphics, or you can just say which one do you suggest. And what this does is it goes through and generates the smart art. You can insert it directly into your proposal, and then if you want to, you can continue to edit this. So it's not a snapshot, not locked in time, like you would see with a lot of the artwork that is currently being produced with a lot of AI. Since you can't directly edit it without reprompting, and sometimes that can be a nightmare. So here you can just interact with it directly within Microsoft Word Smart Art. So as always, if anyone is familiar with Dash within the web, we have very similar capabilities to that. So you can still, within the Word Assistant, use anything from the Dash Kit. So you can search through GovDash guides, maybe if you have any question on how to do something within GovDash. Additionally, you can search through the internet if you wanted to pair together any information with maybe some recent industry trends, and pair that together with what your company is good at doing. Maybe if you wanted to focus on strategy and having Dash help you with generating a strategy. There's a lot of use cases for utilizing web search in this area. And then, as always, we have the ability to actually just attach documents from your SharePoint, from your data library, or just to upload them if you wanted to just ask very specific questions about one document in particular and didn't want the extra added noise of searching through everything else. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. We'll head back and talk about some of the amazing things that we have coming up in the pipeline that we're working on.
So as I mentioned before, one thing I'm working on is in the Capture Cloud, and within this, it is SLED. So we are working on implementing all 50 states plus territories into SLED, and at the end of the month, we will be able to see them for all customers in an alpha release.
Perfect. So as Evan just mentioned, we are expanding our bid match capabilities with SLED. We also have other improvements that we're working on right now. We actually have improvements that we're working on across the entire product. So all three clouds, all three product areas. Specifically within Capture, we're focusing on making sure we are enhancing our bid match so that it's easier to understand why we're recommending the opportunities that we are and make it easier to find every single opportunity that's relevant to you and your team. Additionally, we're working on integrating with additional sources so that we can expand the number of opportunities that you have access to, so you can easily add this to your pipeline and continue to go through the process within GovDash. Within the proposal cloud, the next thing we're working on is a new pricing module that'll help you figure out exactly how much to bid to stay competitive, why you should do that, and whether or not you can afford it. So this is coming up. And within the contract cloud, we are enhancing our modification support. So as I'm sure most everyone is aware, it is common to have modifications to contracts. So we are building out better support to be able to more easily detect this. And guarantee that the data within your contract cloud is always the most up to date so that you are never missing out on any sort of data and having everything clean for you.
Awesome. And you're probably wondering, where can I find these once they do come out? So there's a few ways that current users can stay up to date with GovDash. So every week to 2 weeks, we release a changelog release. So in this picture, you can see the What's New tab. So if you're a current user, that's where you can find the most readily available information on all of the great things our engineers are working on and that go live within the product. You also get weekly, bi-weekly emails if you're a current user as well, outlining a lot of the updates with videos and help center links to get you started using them. And then webinars. So we do a monthly GovDash Live just like this once a month, but also GovDash itself is putting on weekly webinars throughout this back half of the year. So you can go to our events page, govdash.com/events, and find all of the weekly webinars there. We're having some really great industry leaders come on in October, so highly suggest checking that out. And then you can also go to govdash.com/roadmap to see just the high-level overview of some other bigger initiatives our engineers are working on right now. Okay, so we're wrapping up a bit early today, so thank you guys so much. We have some questions that we want to answer, so again, drop them in the Q&A box, but if not, I'll get started on some questions we have ready for Parker and Evan here. But yeah, feel free to drop some more questions in the Q&A chat. Okay, so I have a big question from Lou. So Parker and Evan, sometimes RFIs will have conflicting guidance regarding labor categories. This often happens when there's a table with all the labor categories, but have different requirements in the narrative. A human would typically pull the table info as authoritative. Does GovDash attempt to resolve conflicts or highlight them? And how can we instruct GovDash to prioritize sources?
Yeah, Lou, so this is a great question. When we are extracting labor categories from anything like an RFI or any other solicitation, GovDash will intelligently pull from the most authoritative seeming section of the RFI. But if we do not specifically highlight the differences, but we can use Dash to really hone in on what is more important. So we could ask Dash itself where the labor category or what labor category requirements from which section we would really like to pull over a more general structured, like free-flowing paragraph. But yeah, that's a good question.
Nice. Okay, I have a couple more. So Parker, does Dash operate the same in the Word Assistant as it does in GovDash, the platform itself?
Yeah, so there are a couple nuances between the two, but the overall engine that is used under the hood is the same. So Dash have access to do the same sorts of things where it can search through your data library, your contract cloud, pull through your opportunities to find everything. So it has access to the same amount of information. There are a couple features that are different within the web and within Word. Such as the power actions, such as making the responses easier to directly insert within Microsoft Word itself, so a little bit less fluff. And as we continue to build out Dash and to build out the Word Assistant, I'm sure there will be more unique features that are built on each front.
Nice. Okay, couple more here. Let's see. Evan, so what if GovDash doesn't recommend anyone as key personnel?
So if GovDash doesn't recommend anyone as key personnel, we'll let you know in the UI that we did not find any relevant people. But the way the works and how we kind of structure who we're recommending and who we aren't, we'll take the top, like the best recommendations first, and we'll display them. So if well, let's say we'll start like a 85% match. If there's no one that's in if there's no one above an 85% match, we'll lower the requirements and we'll show more people that have partially missing or more just generally missing and generally meets. But we try to show the most well matches first, and then we keep bumping it down all the way to 0. And if there's mainly people with zeros or a couple like single digit percents, then we'll end up saying that we didn't really find anyone that completely matches every category. So that way we're not looking at, we don't have to have people look through like 2% matches where they're partially missing one thing and missing 20. But yeah, good question.
Nice. Let's see here. Parker, can Dash help with key personnel matching?
Yeah, so Evan actually briefly touched a little bit on some of the things that you can use Dash for to maybe identify these labor categories. But since Dash is such a general purpose tool and you can really use it for anything, and it has access to this information, Dash can actually do a pretty good job of matching key personnel with the labor categories that we extract. So Dash does a good job of actually tapping into the dedicated workflows that we have throughout GovDash. Part of that being extracting information about key personnel, making sure that the information within the data library within your staffing pool is up to date. And it has access to analyze all of that information, as well as pair that together with whatever current solicitation you're looking at. So whatever you're currently looking at on the page, to make it really easy to really answer whatever question you have about that. So if you wanted to find key personnel, you can have Dash tell you who it thinks the best match would be. Maybe you can have Dash give you options and provide reasoning for why it thinks that. Now it won't be as I guess visually appealing as maybe the badges that Evan's been working on of showing you the exact percentage match that we have and why exactly. GovDash decided to make those because this is Dash making the decision rather than our dedicated workflows, but it still will do a pretty decent job overall.
Nice. All right. If no one has any other questions, we can wrap up early. But super excited to start showing everybody some of the great things within the proposal cloud and the platform itself. We have some really great products coming out within GovDash. So please stay up to date and keep attending, and we'll be showing off some really cool things in November as well. November 5th will be the next GovDash Live. But other than that, thanks everybody, and happy October 1st, and we'll see you soon. All right, thanks guys.
Thanks everyone.